Peace and blessings, beautiful people. Peace and blessings. This is Empress Imani, and welcome to this episode of Sacred Love Lessons. Death is only the beginning. I'm Empress Imani, inspirational teacher of Sacred Love Lessons. I help women to honor the love within so they too can manifest the life of their dreams. We're in season 5, Be Your Own Guru, 12 Secrets of the Sacred Saber. Sacred Love Lessons is brought to you by House of Sacred Love, where every day is Self-Love Day. Be inspired to honor yourself with clear intentions, release what no longer serves you, claim your freedom, and head in the right direction to manifest the life of your dreams. You can book your life-changing one-on-one clarity session today at houseofsacredlove.com. That is houseofsacredlove.com. Our objective today is to embrace the power of spiritual alchemy. But before we start, let's invoke our goddess energy of Momo Brigette, Oya, Kale, Hecate, Nyx, and Persephone. A lot of people get afraid when the topic of death comes up. My intention today is to reassure you of the power of life. When I speak of death in this episode, I'm not referring to death of the body. I'll say that again. When I speak of death in this episode, I am not referring to the death of the body. I'm going to go slow, and I may repeat myself to ensure we have clarity about the death frequency. So, everything is energy. I am energy, you are energy, and everything in the world is energy. Energy is eternal and can never be destroyed. That's pursuant to the law of conservation of energy. So, if energy cannot be created or destroyed, what is death? Death is change. It transforms our consciousness into a different state of being. In other words, death is alchemy, where we take one form of energy and transmute it into another form of energy. Death is also an opportunity to grow and evolve. Before we tap into the death frequency, we must first lay a solid foundation by doing our shadow work. Shadow work is the exploration of the unconscious parts of ourselves. We must own it all of who we are, the good and the ugly. You know, a lot of times, myself included, we want to present the good. We want to be in the light and show the light, but there are parts of us where we hide. And we don't want people to see that. It's like the Incredible Hulk when he says, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry, you know? And so we tend to hide those parts of ourselves. But in doing so, when you hide who you really are, you come off as an imposter. We come off as an imposter, as a hypocrite. When you hold yourself up in a certain way, in a certain persona, in a certain image and light, and then we lift the cover or we pull back the curtain and we find out that's not who you really are. Now you just look like a liar, a hypocrite, and an imposter, right? So shadow work is very important. It's very important for us to be our authentic self 500% at all times, so the world knows who we really are. And there's going to be those who will ride with you. There'll be those who won't. And so we always want to be transparent. Shadow work is like spiritual detox. So the first thing you're going to do, and you already know what I'm going to say, is you're going to ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? Knowing who you are is so important, because when you're faced with circumstances, when you know who you are, no one can move you off your square. When you own all of you, the good and the ugly, no one can move you off your square. Now, let's say you have a proclivity toward beautiful women. And this is just an example, right? You know that about yourself. You own that about yourself. So when your type, everybody has something, right? When your type approaches you, you already know, okay, that's my type. I know when I get with somebody like that, I get beside myself. So in order to prevent that from happening, let me set up some healthy boundaries, because I know myself. I know who I am. I know I like little breezes, right? So we set up healthy boundaries so that situation don't even happen, right? And it just protects everyone involved, especially if you're married. So know who you are. Know what you desire and require, and know what lights you up, what triggers you. It could be a trigger of anger, sadness, happiness, joy, and any energy that lights you up or triggers you. So some questions to ponder. Is there a part of me that I keep hidden? Is there a part of me that I keep hidden? Be honest with yourself. That's the only way this can work. Are there negative thought forms, limiting beliefs, or behaviors that I have that need to die? You're asking your higher self this. Keep listening. She's going to tell you. She's going to tell you. Ask your inner goddess to reveal these things to you. Another thing that you can do is the part of the mirror exercise is stand before your mirror and have an honest conversation with yourself. Okay? Can't lie. Okay? Don't lie to yourself. Stand in front of the mirror and have an honest conversation with yourself. Mirrors are spiritual portals. They don't just reveal our appearance, but they reveal who we are on a deeper level. So as you're looking at yourself in the mirror, ask yourself, what do I accept about myself? What do I accept about myself? What makes me feel uncomfortable and why? What makes me feel uncomfortable and why? Sidebar. So there was this person, right, that I know. He has a gay nephew. And this guy was so pressed about his nephew being gay. Now I'm not understanding why. Okay? What is it in your nephew that is triggering you? And what he's doing and how he's living his life, how is that affecting anything that you're doing? Now keep in mind the nephew is an adult. He's an adult. He's living his own life. He's doing his own thing. He's not bothering anybody. Have you ever seen that? Where you over here, you doing your own thing and somebody else has a problem with how you're living your life? And you guys are not even on the same timeline. How is it that what I'm doing affecting you? It's not. So you have to ask yourself, what makes me feel uncomfortable and why? Then ask yourself, why am I uncomfortable with? And you fill in the blank. Why am I uncomfortable with? What do I need to understand more fully about myself? What do I need to understand more fully about myself? Is there something I keep hidden from myself? Is there something I keep hidden from myself? Is there something I refuse to face about myself? Is there something I refuse to face about myself? What comes out needs to be healed and integrated. This process is a lifestyle, so I don't want to get you guys mixed up thinking that this is a one and done. Shadow work is a lifestyle. You do it over and over and over. Why? Because there's many layers of who we are. So you're not going to just get it right the first time. And even if you get it right the first time, there may be other things that you need to work on, right? So shadow work is a lifestyle. So how do you tap into the death frequency? Well, the first thing you want to do is reframe. Reframe how you see yourself in your situation. The first step in reframing is to become aware of our thoughts, emotions, and patterns. This is why shadow work, that's why you have to do that first, okay? Because at this point, you should be into self-awareness. Examine your perception and break it down to its basic element. Next, separate out the parts that are essential and then the non-essential parts that must be transmuted. So nothing is all bad or all good, right? Nothing is perfect. So you may have a situation where you say, okay, I did an okay job, but I can see how I can improve. So you separate it out. You keep, hey, this is good. I did good on that. And then this over here where I did not so good, I need some improvement. Just say, hey, this is what I'm going to set aside to transmute. And we're going to work on that. Then view yourself or your situation from a higher perspective and choose a different viewpoint or path. This process is known as mental alchemy. And that's where we transform our negative thoughts, emotions, and behaviors into positive ones. So for example, let's say you've been sitting in traffic for what feels like forever. There's an accident up on the road and all lanes are closed except for one. You inch your way to the open lane slowly, but no one is letting you in. No surprise there. Then finally, someone allows you to go. And just as you get ready to go, another car jumps in front of you, taking your place. Now the process starts over again. What do you do? That's an example for shadow work. I'm going to just leave that with you. You let it marinate. That actually happened to me once. I was coming from Miami, headed north on 95. Someone had a real bad accident. All the lanes were closed. It took me 4 hours to go 32 miles. 4 hours. Okay. Plus it started raining. So the next step that you want to do is you want to release. Release the old stories you've been telling yourself or the old energy you've been hanging on to. Let it go. Detach. Shed. Then next you want to refocus. Refocus your attention on what's on the other side or the light at the end of the tunnel. This is where your imagination comes into play. And I love my awakened imagination. We must see a better day. So if you're overcoming something right now and you're in the thick of things, imagine when that's over. Imagine yourself on the other side. This was one of the things that I did with my youngest daughter when we was overcoming the terminal prognosis with her. That process was 5 years. 5 years. And I just kept seeing a better day. I didn't try to see like the how we were going to get to the light. But I just saw us standing in the light together. Other things that have come up in life, I just see a better day. So if you're overcoming, you're in the thick of things right now, this is where you refocus your energy. You're not going to ignore what's going on. It's like, yeah, I see you over there. But guess what? On the other side of this, when I am standing in the light, this is what I see for myself. And you can find a section in the back of the Sacred Saber in the book. There's a section where you can complete this exercise. What I see for myself. You got to see a better day. That is so important. Then the next step is restoration. This is a form of kintsugi. Kintsugi is where we let the light in. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term kintsugi. Kintsugi is a Japanese term, and it's where they take broken ceramic bowls and they put them back together, but they put them back together with gold, right? So when you look at the bowl, it's so beautiful, and it's like you see the ceramic, but in it you see all this gold, and it just looks like a beautiful work of art. Well, that's us. We're the bowl. And going through this spiritual alchemy, we're putting gold on our ceramic, so to speak, metaphorically speaking. We're putting gold on our ceramic. And this is where we restore ourselves. So remember who you are. You've already done the shadow work of who am I? This is the time to remember who you are and then return to your goddess self. This is a time of spiritual ripening where your divinity is awakened within your soul. You surrender control and attachment to worldly things. When I went through this process, it was like, okay, so I went through the process of Dark Night of the Soul, and that was more of a feeling of confusion, a feeling of being lost, a feeling of I have everything that I could possibly want right now, and I still feel like there's this emptiness. That's what it felt like for me. And as I went through this process, what I'm telling you now, spiritual alchemy, once I got close to the end, I could see the light. I was beginning to feel restored. I surrendered control. That was a big thing for me as a fixed sign. It was like, just stubborn, right? But I surrendered control. I released my attachment to people, places, and things. Then it just felt like out of nowhere, where I had been in a pool of darkness, out of nowhere, it felt like someone just turned on the light, like a bright light just came on. And at that point, my eyes changed. Everything changed. I could see. I could see things that I had never seen before to a degree that I had never seen before. So this is what it feels like. Well, this was my experience when I went through the restoration stage. The final stage is resurrection. Yes. And he rose on the third day. That may not be 3 days for you. I don't know what you believe. But in the end, right, when you go through spiritual alchemy, there is a resurrection stage. This is the stage where we embrace the more enlightened version of ourselves. This is the sacred union, where you come into alignment. You are in alignment, fully and in complete alignment with both your divine feminine, your divine masculine energy. Keep in mind, everything is energy. When you reach this stage, you should see the growth within yourself. For example, remember a time when you would get angry about something and then turn all the way up? Now, that same event can occur and you remain calm, choosing to handle the situation differently. That's how you know your ego is now purified and you have died to limiting beliefs and low-vibing behavior. Now, that doesn't mean you won't have to go through this process again. Keep in mind, I said this was a lifestyle. So where you may heal yourself on one area of trauma, there may be something else that you need to work on. You may need to work on another area, right? Because no one is perfect. The good thing about it is that as each day we live, each day is a new beginning. It's a new beginning, and you get a new opportunity, a second chance to go through the process, to ride the death frequency. You get a new chance. Our modern day goddess that inspired this episode is Iyanla Vanzant, lovingly known as Mama Ia, for her work in personal transformation, spiritual development, and empowerment. You may have seen her as an inspirational speaker at SLL or as an informational coach on the OWN TV show, Fix My Life. Maybe you've read or listened to one of her many New York Times best-selling books, traversed your spiritual journey during Wonder Woman weekend, taken one of her many online courses, been a part of her prayer circle, or listened to her Spiritual Awakenings app. However you came in contact with her, you quickly understood that it was time to get to work when you heard her say, "Beloved, you must do the work." I love the way she channels her great cosmic mother energy of Mawu. For as long as I can remember, Mama Ia has been a cornerstone of the community. And for that, I am grateful. She has had a profound impact on my spiritual growth and development. I will leave links to her social media where you can check her out. Lots of love and light to Iyanla Vanzant and her team at Inner Visions. Affirmation. I am death. I die to my ego and the limiting beliefs it feeds me. I shed outdated thinking and I let go of old patterns of behavior that keep me from being the best version of myself. I release it all. I forgive it all, and I am reborn anew. Death is my new beginning. I am life. I'll leave you with this final thought. Remember, death is only the beginning. You can create your reality by transmuting the energy already inside of you. Out of darkness comes light. From fear to courage, doubt to faith, anger to peace, and indifference to love. The power is yours. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for listening to this episode of Sacred Love Lessons. Be your own guru. 12 Secrets of the Sacred Saber. Wherever you're tuning in the world, don't forget to click that like button, comment, and subscribe. And until we speak again, be the light.